City News is brought to you by East Brewster Lawyers Rotorua, celebrating 100 years of legal excellence and innovation.
Kia ora Rotorua, ahead in tonight's bulletin. Waiariki MP Te Rotorua Flavel says economic growth should continue to be a priority for the new mayor and council. Kawaha Point residents will have a new neighbourhood playground by Christmas, and Bay of Plenty Olympic BMX silver medalist Sarah Walker is helping promote this year's Variety Children's Charities Bikes for Kids tour. Waiariki MP Te Rotorua Flavel says now that the local elections are over, he's expecting for a new drive and passion from the new administration. Mr Flavel says he thinks economic growth, especially in the CBD, should be a top priority for the new mayor and council.
I suppose what we still have to do, and hopefully the council elections that have recently been had will have a little bit more impact on driving economic sustainability within the township, because I think it's pretty alarming to go around town these days and find the number of shops that are actually empty, that once upon a time were full and were bursting. And so the suggestion is that we've sort of spread our midtown out to the regions, and so I'm hopeful that the new council might be able to do something about that and drawing back people into the central business district so that we can build the town up again.
More from Te Rotorua Flavel in tonight's show, including discussion on the estimated $20 million a year spent on pokies in this city. Kawaha Point residents will have a new neighbourhood playground by Christmas. That's the timeline estimated by RDC Assets and Planning Manager Robbie Atkinson. He says Kawaha Point residents asked for the playground, and now it's approved, work on construction has begun.
2012, Council received a petition by a group of local residents. So we received a petition and we went through the due process, which involves going back to the public. So we canvassed, I think it was about 300 properties in the area to get their views on it. And from there we went to Council, because it meant a change to the reserve management plan for that Grandview Road Reserve. And that was all passed by council. And so we've gone ahead and purchased some equipment and drawn up a plan, and still hopefully will be installed before Christmas.
RDC landscape architect Rebecca Cray says there are elements included in the playground's design that are new to the city.
We've managed to design a playground that's got a range of new equipment to Rotorua, and we've also got some equipment which provides for kids with disabilities. So the buddy swing, which is provides for children with disabilities, is from Playco.
And this is the first time this has actually been implemented here in the city too, eh?
Yes, that's right. So we've got a lot of new equipment. We don't want all our playgrounds to look exactly the same. We want to provide a range of play opportunities for the children.
The Labor Party is inviting locals to hear about their policies on economic growth and Māori and forestry in the regions at a dinner event hosted by MP Shane Jones. Mr Jones will also present ideas for moving the party forward heading into next year's general election. He says he's looking forward to meeting with as many as possible to discuss ways to return growth, development and jobs into this region. The Labor Party event is on at Annie's next Monday evening. In sport tonight, Bay of Plenty Olympic BMX silver medalist Sarah Walker is helping promote this year's Variety Children's Charities Bikes for Kids tour. The tour is taking place early next month, with 450 bikes to be given out to Bay of Plenty children in Rotorua, Kawerau, Whakatane and Opotiki. Sarah Walker, who grew up in Kawerau, says the project aims to help give deserving children the chance of experiencing the thrill of owning their own bike. To nominate a deserving child, visit variety.org.nz. To your weather update now. Tonight, fine spells with fresh westerly, an overnight low of 4. Tomorrow, Thursday, mostly sunny with westerlies, a high of 18 and a low of 7. And the outlook for Friday, mostly sunny with westerlies, a high of 19 and a low of 9. And the marine forecast for Lake Rotorua, westerlies rising to 15 knots during the morning and then easing to southwest 10 knots at night, with waves less than half a metre, and it looks to be fine. Remember, for program listings and other info, or to upload video, check out our website tvrotorua.co.nz and look up our Facebook page. Still to come tonight in City News, Wayne Douglas talks with Waiariki MP Te Ururoa Flavel, and we hear about plans for this year's Pink Walk by the Rotorua Breast Cancer Trust.
It's always good to catch up with our Waiariki MP, Māori Party MP Te Ururoa Flavel. Kia ora, nice to have you back again. It's been a while,
It is.
isn't it? We're running towards the end of the year now. It's picking up pace to Christmas. So for you, it's picking up pace in all sorts of other directions as well, of course. 4 months into the job as leader, etc. What's it been like?
Not too much change, to be truthful, in the work that we do, but probably more intense and more engagements. Certainly the people want me to be seen with them, and so I've spent a fair bit of time on the road recently, but in the actions of Parliament and how we go about our work, not too much has changed, because basically Tariana Turia is still the co-leader and doing the ministerial issues for her, and Peter Sharples is still doing ministerial responsibilities for Māori affairs. So
You're in transition, aren't you, still? Really?
Pretty much, but we've sort of chosen to take some time around planning for the next election and the transition in leadership. We've got a new president, Nader Glavish, from up in Auckland there, and so we bring a different scene to how we want to run the party. Doing a lot of work on the ground to get back to draw that support back for the Māori Party and have infrastructure in place. We know we've got a lot of work to do, but really looking forward to next year when I suppose it's election year and things really kick in.
The change of leadership and so on, that was obviously headlined for quite a while until it was all sorted out as such. Has it been hard to make that transition, and has it not necessarily damaged the party, but obviously when things are in transition like that, people are a little bit unsure about where it's going? Is that what the feedback that you've had a bit?
I think people didn't like how we did that process over the leadership. I'm clear about that, but they understood the reasoning, and now we've just basically got on with it. There's no problems, and of course the whole issue was about succession planning. I don't see my role as being in there forever. I'm certainly not a career politician, even though I've been there for 9 years, 8 years. But my role is
still have that passion, though, in that same sense.
Well, I mean, I hope if I look back in politics and say that I did the best by my people and by the country, then I'll be happy. And so far, I think I've sort of done that. But there's still a new generation of people to come through. My job is to bring them through. And so that's why we're looking for the party vote at the next election, where we're aiming for 12 seats, but that will only happen if we can convince the whole country, everyone else, that we should be a fair coalition partner with whoever the government might be.
With a strong voice.
With a strong voice, absolutely, and we bring common sense to Parliament, as well as, I suppose, an element of keeping them honest. And so we're looking for support across the board from all communities, Māori, Pākehā, Asian, Pacific Islander, to give their party vote to us, and by that stage we'll have a guaranteed presence in Parliament, over and above the fact that I've already got sort of fairly popular support in the latest Marae Digi poll.
Yeah, it's looking good. They like you.
Well, just fortunate.
Yeah, well, it's half the battle, isn't it, really? You mentioned before about people coming through. That's a really good point, Tururoa, because you'll want a fresh look in some ways when you're heading into the next election. So does that mean you are your eyes are out and scouting for younger people coming through that can have a bit more impact as well? Well,
young is good, but you also need that experience, that life experience. And so I've been touching base throughout the country with people whose names have been mentioned, because it is right, we want to present a look, we want to present a brand, we want to present a great lineup that people have faith in, whom they believe also who could take up ministerial responsibilities if they're asked. And so a part of that is not just picking on the youth, but also those who bring a wealth of experience and who are well known, because politics, a lot of it is very much around profile, about if you're known, if you're seen, working amongst the community. So we're doing a lot of work on the ground on that, and looking forward to presenting the team in the new year.
And the maintaining of the Māoridom aspect and the cultural aspect is important as well, and that's where your more experienced people can have an impact on the younger ones coming through. So there's an achievable balance there, isn't
Well, that's for the Māori seats. One would, we have to go with those who are on the Māori roll, but we're chasing the party vote and we're chasing general seats as well. So that means that you, for example, could be one of our candidates in a general seat, which is about generating the interest for the...
But I know what you mean.
We know that. But generating interest around the fact that the Māori Party is not just for Māori, it's about the Māori Party is for the country. Our logo tells us that. If you look deeply at our logo and the explanation behind it, it tells you it is all about the best interests of the country, certainly about protecting Māori interests and upholding rights that are Māori, but also for the best interests of the country on the basis that what is right for Māori is right for everyone.
I'm hearing that word unity coming through a little bit. That's obviously something that you're aiming for, obviously to represent Māori in the best possible way and not let anything slip through the cracks, but at the same time maintaining, and it isn't necessarily a Māori Party national coalition type situation or partnership. It's broader than that, isn't it, in terms of that unity you're talking about?
Well, it is. I mean, Māori aren't going to go anywhere, and we have country men and women who are a part of this country's beginnings as well as us. We know that the National Party and Labour Party are always going to be the major parties, and one of them will be right half the time.
We've got lots more to talk about, and particularly some rather alarming statistics, so happy to stick around for a little while.
Ka pai.
Cheers. My guest is Māori Party Wairiki MP Tuaroa Flavel, having a good old catch-up, and we alluded before the break that basically we've got some statistics to look at that I think are quite alarming. Something like $20 million in the past year in Rotorua alone dropped into pokie machines. Now I know the whole gambling thing for you is a very, it's a touchy issue in terms of your concerns, etc. Those figures are alarming. That's something like 56,700 or something a week, basically. That's a lot for a city of the size of 65,000 people.
It's a lot of money, and it's no different to pretty much the statistics that have been alarming for the last few years, and which is a part of the motivation why we put up a bill which was to basically having a falling cap on pokie machines, also pack in the support mechanisms around player tracking and pre-commit cards. In fact, there was a whole bill that I put forward to Parliament which went through to the end. It got cut back a little bit because we're only a small party and we weren't going to get anything, and it was a matter of, can this little bit that I'm left with, can we still say that it's going to benefit the community? Our decision was yes, it was, because National had taken out a fair bit of some of that bill. But I'm happy to say that the Minister Chris Tremaine has put forward some recommendations that will be advanced in the near future to cover off some of those issues. But it still will not deal with the number of people who are chucking money down the Google into pokie machines in Rotorua.
It's almost a band-aid situation, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's just admitting, look, we aren't going to get rid of pokie machines in the community, but what we have to do is pack in some support mechanisms. Well, firstly, just make everybody aware of those issues, which the newspaper is obviously doing. And secondly, pack in mechanisms that might be able to minimise the harm that is still being caused by pokie machines. And I was reading an interesting article recently around a reporter who went into about 5 or 6 gambling institutions in Auckland, and all of them filled up all during the day, around lunchtime or so, no one drinking, but everybody at the pokie machines. And I think that paints a general picture throughout the country. So we've got some, I mean, we've either going to accept that that's going to be a normal part of our society, or try and do something about it. And my bill was the first part of it. It's not the beginning and end, and it isn't going to achieve everything, but it was definitely a starting.
Is it, do you think, those figures are obviously alarming, is it symptomatic of almost a desperation because of economic times, that people are thinking, oh, well, maybe I can win something and add to the coffers at home, you know?
I think it is, I mean, it's
driving
funny.
it a bit. So.
Certainly part of that, but the research says that you can't put your finger on one thing around it. Sure, people will talk about the fact that they get a small one, then they're looking for the next one, then they're looking for the next one, or that that nothing else matters. It's a shortcut to getting some money in the bank. They don't make the connect to that money is if you happen to pick up a benefit, or a pay packet that there's no connect to the fact that you've got to last for a week, no connect to the children until it really hits rock bottom, and by that stage it's too late. So there's heaps of evidence to suggest that the downstream effects of gambling result in broken homes, broken partnerships, the loss of one's dignity, money, resources, partners, family, the whole lot. So it's disastrous. But until it hits you, then, and as providing that small amount of money that you might make in the short term, is if that's still the belief that you're going to hang your gambling on, you'll probably stay there.
That's right. The whole idea of raising the amount of money that is taken from pokie machines into charitable organisations, even the bigger ones like the Lion Foundation and a couple of others, they're already doing something like 40%. Chris Tremaine's looking at the possibility of even raising that. But again, that's not necessarily the ambulance at the top of the cliff instead of the fence at the top of the cliff instead of the ambulance at the bottom, is it really?
Well, it doesn't deal with the problem.
No.
All it does was deal with the outcomes and say, well, I've got some, here it is in my hand, and I'm going to distribute that out, but don't worry about that lot over
kind
there.
of as rationale as to try and justify
I think it is. I mean,
Yeah.
sure, this was the argument that I faced when the debate was going on about my bill, that there's a huge campaign mounted by a number of organisations that suggested that voluntary organisations who got money for their jerseys, for their rugby jerseys, their sports club, the New Zealand Life Saving and so on and so forth, societies, groups that do great amount of work in the community would lose their money, which was factually incorrect. But that was the argument to try and cut back on what we were trying to do about gambling. So you've got two sides of the debate. One is almost like personal freedom, allowing a person to do what they think is right for them. Two, we know that there's serious effects of gambling, pokies in particular, on our society and on families that are dealing with it. At the opposite end, the millions that actually distributed for public good. And
So
when you get into that debate,
if I'm sitting in front of a pokie machine putting the money in, I'm not thinking about the fact that it's providing jerseys. Am I?
Absolutely
that's
not.
not my focus. Always good to have a catch up. Thank you indeed for your time, and I guess we'll squeeze one more in before Christmas. I look forward to that.
Very good.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, bye.
Well, coming up on the 30th of October is the annual Pink Walk to raise awareness about breast cancer, but also to raise funds and money for breast cancer. And joining me today is the chairwoman for the Rotorua Breast Cancer Trust, Sue Winters. Thanks for joining us today, Sue. Now, I know that traditionally, over the last 5 years, this has been a huge day for the city, and everybody getting dressed up in pink, even men, to help raise awareness about breast cancer, because it is a big killer in our country, isn't it?
It is, and in Rotorua, between 50 and 60 people a year are diagnosed with breast cancer, but it is a big killer of mainly women, but men can have breast cancer too.
Now, I know here in New Zealand, Sue, that breast cancer is the third highest killer of New Zealand women. Now, that's shocking. So when things like the Pink Walk are on, it's great for the community to get involved to help raise money for breast cancer. So, like I said before, it's the sixth annual Pink Walk. Are you going to be involved in walking on the day?
Well, I don't get to walk on the day. I have walked it previously, but I'm one of the organising team. I'll be on the stage at times, and I'll be working with the other trustees to actually run the event. All of our trustees are volunteers, so it's a voluntary a passion that we have, and so we're all there working with our sleeves rolled up.
Yeah, of course. Now, it's the 30th of October, so it's only just around the corner. Whereabouts exactly is the route, and where do the people walk?
Yes, the people walk from, we all gather at the village green. From 5 o'clock onwards there are festivities, there's food, there's entertainment, there's registrations there. And then at 6 o'clock the walk is set off, and we head round here to the government gardens, past the museum and back to the village green. It's 3.4 kilometres.
So that's not a big distance really, is it?
No, and it's flat.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that you do obviously is to raise money through registrations. Now, how can people register if they want to be involved?
Yes, so you can go to our website www.rbct.co.nz, and that's to do online registrations, or you can go down to the ASB Bank, our bank, and do the registrations down there, or Aroha Mai. So $5 per person. Anyone under 13 walks free.
Okay, so with the registration, Sue, obviously that $5 goes towards fundraising about breast cancer and breast cancer awareness. Do those funds stay here in Rotorua?
Yes, absolutely. We're extremely grateful to our major sponsors who actually cover all the costs for the day, which means that most of what we raise from the registrations can stay with the Breast Cancer Trust, and all of that money stays within the Rotorua district and benefits people who are affected by breast cancer in the Rotorua district. So that may be the patient, or it may be the family, children. We subsidise heavily the Pink Pilates program through Tēnai Physiotherapy, and we subsidise fully the Encore program, which happens at the Polynesian Spa.
Are these follow-on programs with people who get breast cancer?
Yep. These are recovery and rehabilitation programs. We sponsor some massage through Tēnai Physiotherapy. And then we also do customised support. So if we're aware of a particular need that a family has when someone's going through breast cancer, we will try and tailor the support to that person. We also have support sessions, information sessions. We can provide someone with a buddy while they're going through treatment. And so whatever is needed, we try and meet that need.
Now, last year in 2012, there was about 2,000 people taking part in the Pink Walk. Do you think you're going to get that many this year, or even more?
Oh, we think we're going to get more. That was record numbers last year, and it always depends on the weather a little bit, but you know, pink umbrellas would look good even if it's raining. So we have category prizes, really good prizes through our sponsors: Best Dressed Male, Best Dressed Female, Best Dressed Young Person, Best Dressed Team, amazing teams last year, and the Best Decorated Bra is another great prize. Also, our sponsors have provided spot prizes. So with your registration number, you might get called up to receive a really nice spot prize on the day.
Now, obviously at the Rotorua Breast Cancer Trust, you guys obviously do a lot for the community. What other things, apart from the Pink Walk and the things that you've already mentioned, what else do you guys get up to?
Yes, if we're asked to provide a guest speaker for breast cancer awareness, we will do that. We're really humble about the number of groups during the year who put on breakfasts, who put on lunches to raise money to donate to our cause. So we attend those, we provide information, we provide some theming sometimes, and we will speak at those events as well. Anything that people want us to do around breast cancer, we strive to do that.
Now, just before we go, Sue, just for the viewers that have missed it, where do they need to register, and what day is the fun walk, or the Pink Walk?
www.rbct for Rotorua Breast Cancer Trust.co.nz for online registrations, ASB Bank, Aroha Mai, and Wednesday the 30th of October down at the Village Green. Walk starts at 6, but you know, come at 5 and do some of the Zumba and the festivities that are down there.
Sounds good. Thanks for your time, Sue. We'll see you there.
Thank you.
And the Pink Walk is a great community event to support the Rotorua Breast Cancer Trust. That was Sue Winters talking with Alan Solomon. If you have any news or information you would like to share with us, call the station on 07 3488 984 or email news@tv.rotorua.co.nz. From all the team here at City News, we hope you have a great night. Pumaria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News was brought to you by East Brewster Lawyers Rotorua, celebrating 100 years of legal excellence and innovation.